Hello, I'm Mr. Anderson, and I have a very important message for DPS parents, or any parent that's listening to this that have children in school, and that is be very mindful and learn about this law. It's called a compulsory law that could actually subject you and your child to the penal system. Basically, your child can be locked up in juvenile because of this law. And also to add about this law is, it's because, first of all, it's a law pertaining to attendance, making sure that your child make it to school. I know that sounds easy, and I know a lot of folks out there will probably say, well, they should be locked up if they don't go to school on time or not at all. But you and I both know, in the real world, things happen, especially in Detroit, where they're tearing down all these schools, closing down all these schools. I should say closing down a lot of schools, where parents that don't have cars and bus fare to get these children to school are going to suffer, unfortunately, especially at the start of September. And this is, but anyway, not only do the child has to attend school, but the parent is expected to attend parent-teacher conference, which I feel all parents should. But as a parent, and having to deal with all the responsibilities of just trying to be a responsible adult in the city and other things to do. Well, anyway, I sometimes don't have time to attend a parent-teacher conference, and I've attended a whole bunch of parent-teacher conferences. But if you're out there struggling with a job, trying to hold on to your employment, your employer don't give a you-know-what about no parent-teacher conference. They need a body there at that job. And, if you're at home, you got other children. I mean, like I said before, excuses sound good, but they don't get anything done. But unfortunately, it is what it is. So all I'm saying is be very careful of this compulsory law, because it can negatively affect you and that child, because like I said, you guys can be subjected to the penal system, and it's not like we don't have enough problems as it is. So this is the reason why I'm always telling parents to stand up, because they want us as parents to be responsible to get our children to school. Then we as parents need to stand up and make sure that when our children are in school, that they're doing their job. And we make sure that they do their job as an administrative body. When we talk about these teachers, make sure these teachers do their job. As parents, just like they don't want to hear no excuses about why parents can't make it to school. Well, we as parents shouldn't we shouldn't even consider any excuse on why they're not educating our children. I hear, especially in urban environments where the children are too bad and all these excuses. But what about back in the day, as a lot of the older people were always pointing out on how good it was back in the day, or I shouldn't say back in the day, I should say back in the day, with the olden times, whatever, olden days, whatever, back in their day when Ritalin didn't exist. The way I talk to most folks, you will think that dyslexia didn't exist. But anyway, the point is that these teachers taught these children coming from homes where they had alcoholic parents on all sorts of drugs. It was all kind of ill issues was going on. But the teachers of the past managed to still teach these children, which a lot of these children are adults, or I should say they're like grandparents and great-grandparents in the present. So with these parents, I'll say these teachers of the day, well, that's an excuse of what they can't do. A good teacher is going to teach. Nothing is going to stand in the way of a good teacher. Because for me, my ideal of a good teacher, first of all, everybody is not a teacher. That's a very spiritual position that to me is appointed by God. Some people going in for a paycheck when it comes to this profession. And unfortunately, I think those are the ones that are creating the all the problems when it comes to, to the school system failing. It's not necessarily always the children failing. A lot of it is a lot of these teachers that are not interested in teaching the children. And I know for a fact, because I visit schools a lot, because like I stated before, I am a parent. And yes, I do listen. And I've heard some terrible things that teachers will say that was inappropriate when they are talking about the so-called students, because some of them have they pick and choose, they pick and choose which students they feel is a lot smarter and which ones should be educated opposed to those ones that shouldn't, which I feel is sad and shameful. But unfortunately, they are there. Parents, we have to stand up because we need to support the good teachers. And those ones that should not be there, the good teacher has to work with the parent, and maybe we can do something to rid the school of not just bad parents and students, but bad teachers that are just in the way collecting the check and causing all kind of problems. Okay, so my stance is that I want you guys, and I'm talking about your parents, be very careful of that law, because it can cause so great deal of mental anguish to you. Trust me, okay? And the thing is don't always go on what these teachers tell you about your child all the time, but don't also go up there jumping on anybody as well, I mean, now unless somebody physically attacking you, well, that's obvious to protect yourself. I mean, there's no argument there. But when it comes to the school, parents, you must do your fighting, all your fighting and battling with paper, writing letters to Lansing if possible. Not possible, that's what you would have to do, if you're not getting no results at the school front. And remember, everybody has a supervisor and a superior over them. So when you go to that teacher is not satisfying your request or your concern, like I said, make sure you get that form called the parent concern form and fill it out properly, or get someone to help you fill it out, okay? Because there's been talk about here in Detroit, I don't know about anywhere else, where our prosecutor, which I'm not going to call a name, you pretty much know who this individual is, her gender is female, and she's speaking about parents missing parent-teacher conference may spend some time in jail. So you can possibly spend some time in jail. And from what I understand, somewhere like 3 days in jail for missing a parent-teacher conference, which I think is very sad. I notice when it comes to parents, it seems like everyone wants to subject the parents to all kind of disciplinary actions, like sending them to jail, cutting them off of welfare and all that. No, my thing is, a lot of times the problems are coming from distressed communities. A lot of the parents are living in distressed communities, dealing with foreclosure, homelessness. The list is long. What about, instead of talking about locking the parent up for 3 days, what about saying if you attend a parent-teacher conference, then we have a relationship with DTE, and we may, you can get your bill cut down, or something like that. What about incentives that are good, opposed to all this negative stuff that's going to further impact a parent that is actually struggling? So parents, be aware of that. Be there for your kids, and stand up for your kid, and stand up for the good teacher. And good teachers, please stand up for the parent, and you guys work together. On that note, have a good one, and I'm out.